What's up Top 10 fam? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video. Now sculptures are gorgeous. It blows my mind that people can make these creations with their hands. Like that raw artistic talent is just irreplaceable. I don't have it. I'm sorry. Either way, the good thing about sculptures is that they don't move, or rather they shouldn't be moving. Like it shouldn't be possible and yet they do. People have captured videos of sculptures moving and it's like, this was not part of the deal. I don't remember agreeing to this. So let's just jump into it. These are the top 10 scary sculptures caught moving. Starting us off at number 10 is the bleeding hairline. This one had me shook honestly, but in hindsight it really doesn't take much for me to be shook. Back in 2012 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Mr. Doan was mowing his lawn when he saw something incredulous. He owned a Virgin Mary holding baby Jesus sculpture and she was bleeding from her temple. He touched it and realized it really was wet and it really was coming from her hairline. The couple told Channel 13 News they believed it was a message from God and that after telling all her neighbors what happened, they all spent the night praying to the sculpture. Even people not living in their neighborhood came to see the miracle in person. Even a professor of religious studies at Louisiana University said it may have happened because of the worshippers' lifetime devotion. Either way, what do you guys think? Hoax or real? Let me know in the comments below. Coming in at number 9 is The Haunting of Hill House. Now I didn't want to confine this list to just real life sculptures, so I decided to throw this Easter egg in there as well. Now early on in the Haunting of Hill House series, I think this happens in around episode 2 or 3, the power in the house goes out and Nell disappears, so the family set off to look for her in the house. Olivia, flashlight in hand, enters a bedroom on the second floor that has 2 standing sculptures on either side. She goes in and calls out Nellie, and as the camera pans to her, you can see the sculptures behind her now. And not many people noticed this, but the sculpture on the left of her was looking straight ahead when she walked into the room, but when the camera pans, the sculpture is actually looking straight at Olivia. Now I know it's a scary show and that these things tend to happen, but it was such a subtle detail that rarely anyone saw it, but if you're a fan of the show, you're welcome. At number 8 we have The Moving Kids. Now this one is creepy as hell, you guys. So this article by Maggie Watson claims that an anonymous woman decided to move out of the city and move into the suburbs because she felt it was safer to raise her kids there. As a city-raised kid, I disagree with this anonymous woman. We're still okay as well. But anyway, thinking the suburbs were safe was a mistake. Slowly but surely, sculptures started appearing on her lawn outside her house and she had no idea who was putting them there. At first she thought it was a prank from kids on her street, but it wasn't. All the sculptures were of little kids. The first were 2 holding a bowl of some kind while sitting down, the next was a little boy kneeling on one leg, and the next one was a tiny girl holding a bowl as well. It was just weird. The woman took the whole thing as a bad omen since a new sculpture was on her lawn literally every day without fail. But every morning the statues would be closer to the house than the night before, kinda like they were moving overnight when no one could see them. The most recent sculpture showed up right outside her doorstep. Like honestly, just imagine waking up and going to drop your kids off at school and the first thing you see when you open the door is a small smiling sculpture of a girl. It's creepy, you can't deny that. Filling our number 7 slot is the Toronto series. I was so surprised to find this story because A, I live in Toronto, B, I go to the waterfront all the time, and C, I never even saw any of these sculptures. So back in 2016, the Arrival sculptures arrived at Island Park in Toronto. The first one was the Jubilant Man who has his arms in the air hoping for something. The second is Orphan Boy, which is a little boy with his hands like this and looking just all around melancholy. The third is Pregnant Woman, which is basically a groaning woman holding her belly. We have the cringy apprehensive man, and finally the woman on ground, who's basically a dead woman who low-key looks like a recovered body from Pompeii. I kid you not, she looks exactly like that. All the sculptures are made of bronze and many have claimed to see the dead woman move under the quilt or blanket sculpted on top of her. The sculptures made by Rowan Giuseppe were designed to honor the Great Famine that happened in the late 1840s in Ireland. People have speculated that the wandering souls of those who died in the famine went into that sculpture and that's why it moves. I think that's a bit of a reach, but what do you guys think? Now at number 6 are the lions. Lions are my favorite animals and for many reasons. Number 1, they're the king of the jungle. Number 2, I'm a Leo, so hello. 3, I love every type of feline. I'm a cat lady, you guys all know this, so a lion is just like the epitome of a feline. Either way, at the University of Cincinnati, there are 2 stone lion sculptures standing outside McMicken Hall. Now McMicken isn't a residence hall, it's strictly for classes and faculty members' offices. But with 21 departments operating inside of it, students are going in and out like nobody's business. Many students have reported hearing a growl prowl at night, and clearly there's no rogue escaped lion near the campus, so it had to have come from the sculptures. Legend has it, or rather the students have speculated, that the sculptures only move if a cheetah or a virgin walks past them. For what reason specifically did they say cheetah or virgin? Only God knows. Coming in at number 5 is the smile. Now this one is such a tiny change, I had to watch the video a billion times to actually catch it. But back in 2016, at a church in Kuala Lumpur lies a sculpture of the Virgin Mary. Churchgoers claim the sculpture not only smiled, it moved its eyes and it grew taller. During a Sunday mass, the priest himself noticed the miracle and told everyone to look at her. She's looking at us, she had tears in her eyes. He went on to tell reporters that when they all started singing Ave Maria, she started smiling and moving her lips. Now she's made from fiberglass, but onlookers said she apparently not only turned into porcelain, but she grew 3 inches taller. I'm sorry? Like, I can suspend my disbelief enough and believe, okay, maybe she smiled, but to transform into another material and grow? Nah, I just feel like I'm on an episode of Punk'd right now. Ashton, come out already. At number 4 are the scented tears. Way back in 2002 in Perth, a fiberglass Virgin Mary started crying, but her tears smelled oddly nice. Her owner brought her back from Bangkok and announced to the media that her sculpture was crying, so a mass gathered at the small church she's located in to see it in person. Even the Archbishop of Perth believed the tears to be authentic, saying he thought it was a hoax at first, but saw it in person and was taken aback. To get to the bottom of the so-called miracle, scientists took samples of her tears to try and find out either what they were or where they were coming from. After x-raying the whole sculpture, they found no cavities or liquid inside of her. One of the local priests in Perth claimed if you use the tears as an oil, it can heal the sick. I mean, I don't know how useful that made-up remedy is, pal, but we salute you for trying your medieval ways. Filling our number 3 slot is Benjamin Franklin. Near the library of the American Philosophical Society in Philadelphia, there's a huge sculpture of Benjamin Franklin, which isn't really a surprise since he was one of the people who founded the society in 1743. Now I could tell you a lot more, but I'm not about to launch into a 2-minute history lecture about the society, even though I could, but I'll save you guys the boredom. By the late 19th century, after Franklin had died, many saw his ghost near the library just wandering around and I guess making sure people were learning efficiently. Legend has it that his statue comes to life and dances in the streets at night, and people who had seen it way back when had no way of recording or capturing that moment, so really it's all just hearsay. Like they say in the 21st century, pics or it didn't happen. Now at number 2 is the Doll's House. This is another one located very near to me, which took me by surprise as well, but also I'm low-key totally not mad at it. Located in Niagara Falls, the Canadian side, not the American side, the Doll's House was built in 1835 and it did a lot more than just house inanimate dolls. Apparently the house had a tunnel underneath it where slaves would be received after escaping from the American side. Apparently in one of these escapades, a young girl drowned in a well deep below the house. After that point, various sculptures inside the Doll's House would start moving all on their own, and a ghost of a girl carrying lilacs manifests near the staircase. Now I don't know who the ghost is, but I'm assuming she's the one who died in the well, unless there are more people that died that I don't know of. The house also weirdly always smells like lilacs, despite none being on the property. The sculptures are said to have moved on CCTV footage, and the owner of the house has frequently found them in a different place from the night before. Now let me tell you something I don't do. I don't do creepy dolls, I don't do moving sculpture dolls, and I don't do tomatoes. Hate them. I just hate them. I like ketchup though. And finally, at number 1 is Witch Bonnie. There are so many stories surrounding Witch Bonnie's origins, it's actually insane. Some claim she was a mill girl, others say she was hanged during the Salem witch trials, no one really knows. Her gravestone is located at Lowell Cemetery in Massachusetts, and it bears the names of her whole family. The cemetery is also home to the Witch Bonnie sculpture. Now her arms are outstretched, holding a sheet above her head and behind her. It looks like the sheet is majestically just billowing in the wind. Her eyes are staring at the sky, and there's a black tear under her left eye. Now in terms of outfit, she's wearing a toga sort of off-shoulder dress, and that lets you see the top parts of her breasts. Now legend has it that every October her dress starts getting lower day by day, and by Halloween her breasts are fully exposed. Now that is scandalous. Expose them nipples, girl. But on a real note, Wiccans leave offerings for her every Halloween and congregate there, so surely if this did happen, someone would have seen it. Maybe Wiccans have seen it but are just choosing to keep keep it secret in their community, who really knows? And that's it for today's video, guys. I know we've done many scary statues caught moving videos, but I thought I could do my own take on it and try to tell you guys instances that you haven't heard before. I hope these are all new to you, but if not, I do apologize. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and as always, I'm your host Ayman Hassan, and I'll see you next time. Bye!